The air inside the federal courthouse feels wrong. Too still, too heavy, like the entire building is holding its breath. The gallery is packed reporters, wedged shoulder to shoulder, cameras ready, legal pads open, every eye pinned on the front of the room. Even the usual low courtroom murmur is missing. People aren't talking. They're waiting. The doors at the back open. Diddy walks in. His wrists are cuffed, his steps slow and controlled. He's thinner than before, more hollow in the face. Whatever swagger he used to carry into public spaces is gone. What's left is a man pulled from a cell, dragged back into a system that already owns his time. He sits at the defense table. His lawyer leans in, whispering something in his ear, but Diddy's eyes stay locked on the bench. He doesn't know why the room feels different today. Not yet. But the prosecutors do. The lead prosecutor rises slowly, a thick, sealed envelope in his hand, the government seal stamped across the front like a warning label. He doesn't bother shuffling papers or clearing his throat for drama. His voice alone is enough. "Your Honor," he says, each word echoing off the carved wood and marble, "the United States is filing additional felony charges against inmate Sean Combs." The courtroom explodes. Gasps rip through the gallery. A reporter blurts, "New charges?" before catching himself. Someone in the back whispers, "You've got to be kidding me." Diddy's head jerks up. His lawyer freezes mid-motion, fingers gripping the edge of the table. A marshal standing by the wall instinctively steps closer to the defense, like he's already bracing for impact. The judge's eyes narrow. "Order," he snaps. The noise dies instantly, but the tension doesn't. It thickens. The prosecutor continues, lifting the envelope slightly. "These new charges," he says, "carry enhancements that may allow this court to increase and effectively double the defendant's existing sentence." The words hit harder than any gavel. Double. Reporters' pens start scratching at once. Someone in the front row mutters, "His sentence could double," as if saying it out loud will make it make sense. A woman near the aisle covers her mouth, eyes wide. Diddy's breathing stumbles just for a moment. His jaw sets, but the flicker in his eyes gives him away. He looks like a man who thought he had already seen the worst and is now realizing he was wrong. If the system decides to double his sentence, this isn't just more time. This is time swallowing whatever was left of his future. Before we go deeper into what's inside that envelope, I want to know something from you. Do you think these new charges are about justice or making an example out of him? Is this accountability or a message? Tell me in the comments what you believe is really happening here. And if you want every twist in this case broken down in real time, the filings, the hearings, the leaks, the moves no one else explains, make sure you subscribe and turn on all notifications. Out there, people will only see headlines. Here, you'll see what actually happened inside the room. All right, let's get back to it. The judge leans forward slightly on the bench, staring at the prosecutor with a look that isn't confused. It's cautious, guarded, already suspicious. "Approach," he says. "Now." The prosecutor steps toward the bench, the envelope in his hand suddenly feeling heavier than paper should. He sets it down on the evidence table in front of the clerk with quiet precision, like he's placing something dangerous between them. The clerk picks it up, walks it to the judge. The judge doesn't open it immediately. He looks at Diddy first. The silence stretches, pulling the whole room tighter. Diddy's eyes meet his for half a second, then drop. His fingers twitch in the cuffs, metal clinking softly against the table. Only then does the judge look down. He breaks the seal, slides the documents out, begins to read. The courtroom goes dead still. His eyes move line by line over the pages. His brow tightens almost imperceptibly at certain paragraphs. Incident reports, internal custody logs, flag communications, something marked with a notation that reads, "Under seal, behavioral review." On the defense side, Diddy's attorney shifts in his seat. "Your Honor," he starts cautiously, "the defense has not been provided." "You are being provided now, counselor," the judge replies coldly, without looking up. The lawyer falls silent. The judge continues reading, his expression growing heavier, not louder. His lips press into a thin line when he reaches one particular section. He goes back, reads it again. Whatever is on those pages isn't minor. The prosecutor's hands rest calmly at his sides, but his posture speaks for him. They didn't come here to bluff. They came here to bury. Finally, the judge looks up. These filings, he says slowly, allege new misconduct committed while the defendant was already serving his sentence under federal supervision. A wave of whispers crashes through the gallery. In custody violations, someone says. He got hit with more inside? Another whispers back. The judge glances toward the noise, and the entire room clamps shut again. He turns his gaze to the defense table. Mr. Combe, he says, voice level but laced with something colder. This court is now in possession of material that, if substantiated, could significantly alter your current term of imprisonment. Diddy's eyes lift slowly. There's no speech, no outburst, no dramatic denial. Just a look that says one thing: how much worse can this get? The prosecutor raises another document, a separate sheet, thinner than the rest. Additionally, Your Honor, he adds, the government is filing notice of intent to seek sentence enhancement based on this new conduct. That enhancement, if granted, would approximately double the length of Mr. Combs' current sentence. The word hangs in the air like a blade. Double. At the defense table, the lawyer's composure cracks. He leans close to Diddy, whispering rapidly numbers, possibilities, years thrown around like dice in a game where the house always wins. They can't just, he starts, but even he doesn't sound sure. The judge drums his fingers once on the arm of his chair, then stops. I will not rule on anything today, he says carefully, though there's iron under the calm. Not until I have reviewed every line of what has been put before this court. He taps the stack of papers in front of him with one finger. But understand this, he leans forward, eyes fixed on Diddy now. If these allegations are confirmed, if this pattern of behavior is as serious as these reports suggest, then this court will have very limited options. The phrase limited options lands like a threat disguised as procedure. Someone in the second row mutters, he's done. Another voice whispers, they're going to bury him. Diddy's posture stiffens. His shoulders rise, his chest tightens, as if he's trying to hold himself together by force alone. His face is still, but his eyes are loud. The judge leans back, but nothing about his body language looks relaxed. Prosecution, he says, you will provide the defense with full copies of these filings and all supporting documents immediately. He looks at the clerk. Have all related reports and attachments brought to the bench? The prosecutor nods and reaches for more folders, thick, labeled, stacked. He places them on the evidence cart, and the clerk wheels them slowly toward the bench. Every squeak of the cart's wheels feels amplified. Those folders aren't just paper. They're time, years, decades maybe. And as they slide into place beneath the judge's hands, everyone in the room understands something. This isn't just a hearing about a man already serving a sentence. This is the opening move in something far worse, something that might end with his sentence being not just reaffirmed, but multiplied. It begins 3 days earlier, long before anyone in the public knew the government was preparing the most devastating filing of Diddy's case so far. Back then, everything looked normal on the surface. Inside a back hallway of the federal facility where Diddy is housed, 2 corrections officers stood beside a locked room labeled Internal Investigations. The door opened, and a prison investigator stepped out holding a stack of files. His voice was low. Send all of this to SDNY. Immediately. That order triggered the chain reaction that brought us to the moment we're in now, because the new charges didn't just come from one incident. They came from a pattern the government claims they've been documenting quietly piece by piece, day by day, until the file was thick enough to take down a man already serving time. And now, for the first time, we see exactly what was inside it. Back in the courtroom, the judge motions for the prosecution to proceed. The lead prosecutor flips open a heavy folder thick enough to change someone's life. Your Honor, he says, these charges stem from multiple incidents inside federal custody. Not one, not two, several. The defense stiffens instantly. Diddy's fingers grip the edge of the table, knuckles whitening against the cuffs. He leans forward without meaning to, fear pulsing across his face in a flash before he suppresses it. The prosecutor pulls out the first page. 3 nights ago, he says, investigators recovered restricted materials from a secure area of the facility, materials connected directly to the defendant. The gallery reacts instantly. What materials? Evidence of what? He did something again? The prosecutor doesn't reveal it yet. Instead, he introduces the first wave of evidence, competitor style. He raises a marked document. Your Honor, Exhibit 1, an internal log of unauthorized movement inside the defendant's housing unit. The judge reads silently. Every few seconds, his eyes narrow. The defense attorney rises. Your Honor, these logs do not conclusively sit, the judge orders. It's not loud, but it's absolute. The prosecutor continues. Over the next several minutes, he introduces evidence wave after wave. Wave 1, movement logs, unauthorized movement around Diddy's unit at hours when inmates are supposed to be confined. Wave 2, confiscated communications notes discovered inside a trash receptacle, coded language, initials, inmate references. Wave 3, a troubling interview. A corrections officer claims Diddy made a cryptic statement about getting things handled internally. Wave 4, a sealed memo. A prison supervisor flagged Diddy for behavior inconsistent with rehabilitation. And then Wave 5, the most damaging piece. A recorded conversation between 2 inmates in Diddy's unit. He's not scared of the system. He said he's already arranging the next move. The judge's head lifts sharply at that line. The defense attorney slams his palm on the table. Your Honor, these are unverified. These are official recordings, counselor, the prosecutor snaps, and they're time-stamped. The gallery bursts into low whispers. Security is forced to intervene and hush the crowd. Diddy's breathing grows uneven. His chest rises and falls too fast, too shallow. His lawyer whispers urgently, "Don't react. Don't react. Look forward." But Diddy's jaw clenches visibly. The prosecutor doesn't stop. Next witness report, he says, holding up another sheet. A supervising officer documented the defendant exhibiting agitation, verbal hostility, and an incident described as threatening. A hush falls so thick it feels like the room itself is listening. The judge studies the document carefully. A single line stands out. Subject displayed conduct indicating potential future escalation. The judge reads that line twice. He leans back. Not casually, not thoughtfully, but with the slow, cold realization of a man connecting dots. The defense attorney swallows hard. He can see the collapse happening. He can feel it, but he can't stop it. The prosecutor moves to the next page. This brings us to the new charges. The gallery leans forward. Reporters grip their pens. The air thickens. Diddy closes his eyes for a moment, just one moment, and when he opens them again, the fear is unmistakable. The charges, the prosecutor says, include violating institutional rules, coordinating misconduct inside federal custody, interfering with internal supervision, and knowingly participating in prohibited activities. The judge raises his head slowly. These are federal felonies, he says. The room freezes, because everyone knows what that means. The defense attorney rises so fast his chair screeches. Your Honor, these accusations are unproven. They are documented, the prosecutor fires back, and corroborated. Diddy's lawyer tries again. We haven't reviewed any. You will, the judge says, voice low with authority. But these filings carry weight, considerable weight. Outside the courtroom, cameras flash through the hallway glass. Social media is exploding. Reporters are already posting the breaking alert. Breaking. New charges could double Diddy's sentence. Inside, the prosecutor sets the final folder onto the evidence cart. This, he says, tapping the cover, is the supplemental report confirming violations consistent with the new charges. The judge slides it toward him. It's thicker than the rest. Much thicker. He opens it. Silence. He scans page 1, turns to page 2, then page 3. Each page changes his expression by degrees, jaw tightening, brow lowering, eyes narrowing. When he reaches the last page, he pauses, breathes in, reads it again. Then he looks directly at Diddy, For the first time in the entire hearing, Diddy looks away. Not down, not at his lawyer, just away like he doesn't want to see what's coming. The judge's voice is slow, controlled, and terrifying. If these reports are accurate, he says, the court has grounds to enhance your sentence significantly. The gallery gasps. Someone whispers, "Is this real?" Another whispers, "He's going to lose everything." The judge closes the file but keeps his hand on top of it, as if anchoring the weight of the decision. This conduct, he says, is not minor. It suggests intentional defiance of federal authority. Diddy's shoulders tremble. His lawyer touches his arm. He doesn't respond. The prosecutor steps closer. "These are not speculative reports, Your Honor. These are verified by internal review. And they justify the government's position that the defendant's sentence may be legally doubled." The judge's expression hardens. He looks at the defense team. He looks at Diddy. Then he says the words that send a visible shockwave through the courtroom. "I will address these charges in full when I issue my ruling." Gasps fill the gallery. Diddy stares at the table, his hands trembling in the cuffs. He tries to steady his breathing, but it only makes it worse. His chest rises in sharp, uneven bursts. His eyes blink rapidly, unfocused. He knows what everyone in this courtroom just understood. This isn't just about punishment. This is about potential obliteration of his remaining years. The judge returns to the bench, and the room immediately senses the shift. Not a single person speaks. Not a single camera shutter clicks. The silence is so absolute it feels like the entire courtroom is bracing for a collision. Diddy is escorted back into the room by two federal marshals. His footsteps are slower now, almost dragging. His shoulders sag under a weight heavier than the shackles around his wrists. His face looks strained, drained of the stiff composure he held earlier. His eyes stay low, but every so often, they flick up toward the judge's seat, then away just as quickly. He already knows this is the moment everything collapses. The prosecution sits with perfect stillness. No shuffling, no whispering, no theatrics. Their job is done, and the stack of evidence on the judge's bench is doing the talking. The defense looks broken. Diddy's attorney sits with his head low, pinching the bridge of his nose, eyes squeezed shut. Another attorney flips through documents in a desperate, frantic rhythm, papers rustling fast, like he's hoping one page, one line, one rule can save a man falling off a cliff. The judge adjusts the chair. The faint scrape echoes like a gunshot. He stares at the pile of new filings, incident logs, seized communications, interview transcripts, internal behavioral reports, a sealed memo from the facility's supervisory board. His jaw clenches once. That's enough to turn every stomach tight. "Bring the defendant forward," the judge says. The marshals move instantly. Diddy rises slowly, too slow. His legs tremble. His knees lock, and one marshal subtly reaches forward to steady him without drawing attention. His cuffs clink as he walks, each step heavier than the last. He stands before the judge, eyes hollow, chest tight, hands trembling at his sides. The judge raises the first sheet. "This court," he begins, voice level but loaded, "has reviewed the new filings submitted by federal custody officials." Every breath in the courtroom stops. These filings document conduct that is inconsistent with rehabilitation, institutional compliance, and lawful behavior. Diddy's lips part, just slightly. His breath catches. The room leans closer. The judge continues, reading from the report directly. "Unauthorized movement, coordinated communication, interference with supervision, behavioral volatility, a pattern of actions suggesting deliberate misconduct." The words land one by one like hammer strikes. The gallery reacts in whispers. "He did all that inside? This is unreal. Double sentence, it's happening." Diddy looks like he's shrinking inside himself. His shoulders hunch. A tremor runs through his fingers. He bites down on the inside of his cheek to stay still, but his jaw keeps tightening, betraying what he's fighting not to show. The judge lifts another document, the sealed memo. "This report," he says, tapping it once with his finger, "raises significant concerns regarding your behavior and your ability to follow federal regulations." He reads from it slowly. "Subject demonstrates signs of escalation. Subject undermines institutional order. Subject may pose risk for continued violations if sentence remains unchanged. Diddy shuts his eyes. Not for drama, for survival. He opens them again, staring straight ahead, but there's a shaking in his breathing now, subtle, but unmistakable. The fear that wasn't visible earlier is now carved openly into his expression. The judge sets the memo down. And in light of these findings, he says, voice tightening, the prosecution has filed a formal request for sentence enhancement. The gallery shifts, violently gasps, murmurs, hands flying over mouths. Diddy's attorney leaps to his feet. Your Honor, he says, desperation cracking through his voice, the defense requests immediate time to— You will have time, the judge interrupts coldly, but the allegations, if substantiated, justify legal enhancement under federal guidelines. Diddy's lawyer sits slowly, shoulders slumping in defeat. The judge continues, turning to the final page. This court must now determine whether the defendant's remaining sentence is adequate or whether the documented conduct requires the court to impose additional years. Additional years. The phrase lingers in the air like a falling blade. Diddy's face tightens, his eyes burning with something between disbelief and surrender. A man already caged now realizing the walls may get thicker, twice as thick. The judge leans forward, folding his hands. Mr. Combs, he says quietly, please step closer. The marshals guide Diddy to the very front. Now only a few feet separate him from the man who holds his future. The judge's stare is cold, measured, final. These charges, he says, are not minor. They reflect decisions made by an individual already serving a sentence for serious offenses. Decisions made with full awareness of consequence. Diddy swallows hard, chest rising sharply. The judge doesn't look away. And because of that, he continues, each word sinking deeper than the last, this court is prepared to enhance your sentence pending the outcome of the new charges. The gallery erupts, shouting, crying, people rising from their seats, reporters firing off text after text, scrambling to get the headline out. The marshals stand taller, ready to intervene as chaos ripples across the benches. Diddy's eyes widen, his breath shaky. He whispers something, just a single broken word. No, but no one hears it except the marshal beside him. The judge lifts his hand. Order! The noise collapses into uneasy silence. Let me make this clear, the judge says. These filings, combined with the prosecution's request, open the door for your existing sentence to be extended by a substantial margin, potentially doubled. Another gasp rolls through the room. Diddy stares at the judge, devastation carved into every line of his face. His throat tightens visibly, his shoulders slump, defeated. The judge's final line is the one that crushes the remaining air from the room. You are hereby remanded pending further proceedings. The court will issue its ruling on enhancement after full review. A marshal takes hold of Diddy's arm. His knees nearly buckle. One camera flash catches the exact second his face collapses, eyes hollow, mouth slightly open, breath trembling. The image will replay in every headline for days. The judge rises. The gavel falls. Court adjourned. Diddy is pulled toward the holding door, each step dragging like the floor is gripping him. The journalists are shouting questions. The gallery is split between outrage and disbelief. Reporters fight to get the first post out, but Diddy doesn't hear any of it. He's staring straight ahead, eyes empty. As the marshals take him toward the door that leads deeper into the federal system, a door that might not open for him again until a doubled sentence is served. Right before he disappears, he turns his head slightly, as if searching for something, hope, mercy, a way out. There's nothing there. The door swings shut, and the echo lingers long after he's gone. Before you go, I need your take on this. Do you believe these new charges are justified, or is the system pushing to make an example out of him? Tell me in the comments. And if you want every update, every leak, every courtroom twist broken down with real detail and real urgency, hit subscribe right now so you don't miss what happens next.